There's a person in every room that nobody tests. Not because they're loud, not because they're aggressive, not because they brag about what they've been through. They don't warn you. They don't threaten you. They don't explain themselves. They simply exist, and something in the air tells everyone around them. Don't. Nietzsche saw this person. He studied this person. And he had a name for what made them untouchable. He didn't call it strength. He didn't call it status. He called it something far more disturbing. He called it the will to power. Fully actualized. And today we're going to break down exactly what that means. Because if you understand this, you'll never look at people the same way again. Most people believe that being harmless protects them. They think, if I don't bother anyone, no one will bother me. Nietzsche destroyed this idea in one sentence. The most dangerous person is one who has nothing left to fear. Read that again. Not the loudest person, not the biggest person, not the richest. The one with nothing left to fear. Here's what he understood that almost nobody teaches. Predators, whether in business, in relationships, in social hierarchies, don't attack strength. They attack available weakness. They look for people who flinch, people who over-explain, people who apologize before they've done anything wrong, people whose eyes ask for permission. The moment someone senses you need their approval, their validation, their acceptance, you've handed them a weapon they will eventually use. Weakness isn't neutral. It's an invitation. Nietzsche watched the herd, his word for the masses, build entire philosophies around why weakness was virtuous, why turning the other cheek was noble, why shrinking yourself was spiritual. He called this slave morality, a moral system invented by the powerless to make the powerful feel guilty for their power. But Nietzsche wasn't impressed by guilt. He was impressed by becoming. So what is it that these people carry? What's the invisible thing that makes an entire room recalibrate the moment they walk in? Nietzsche had a concept. Pathos of distance. It's the inner distance a person creates between themselves and the noise of the world. The opinions, the judgments, the social games. Most people live in the crowd emotionally, psychologically. They are moved by every wind, every criticism lands, every compliment lifts. Their internal world is controlled by external weather. The untouchable person has built something Nietzsche called self-overcoming. They've gone to war with themselves, repeatedly, brutally, and they've won enough of those wars that they trust themselves. Completely. That trust reads on the body. It reads in the eyes. It reads in how they sit, how they speak, how long they take before they respond. They're not performing confidence. They have nothing to perform because they have nothing to prove. Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." What he meant. The people who seem most composed went through the most chaos. They didn't avoid their darkness. They descended into it. They sat in it. They metabolized it, and they came back changed. That process, that descent and return, is what forges someone nobody dares to cross. Here's where Nietzsche gets uncomfortable. Here's where most people close the book. He makes a distinction that the modern world refuses to make. He separates two types of people who appear peaceful. The first is peaceful because they are genuinely incapable of violence, emotional, social, or physical. They are gentle because they have no other option. Nietzsche has no interest in this person. He calls this type of peace weakness dressed as virtue. The second is peaceful because they've chosen peace from a position of power. They could cause damage. They've felt the rage. They know what they're capable of. And they have chosen, consciously, continuously, to hold it back. Nietzsche calls this second type noble. This is the samurai who has mastered the sword and chooses when to draw it. This is the man who has been betrayed deeply, who could have destroyed his betrayer and chose not to, not from fear, but from something beyond revenge. This is the woman who has endured what would break most people, who emerged not bitter but refined. Harder in the places that needed to be hard, softer in the places that choose to be soft. The controlled man is not tame, he is disciplined. And people sense the difference immediately. A dog that has never bitten anyone because it's never had teeth is not calm. A wolf that chooses not to bite is.